Yeah, give Northwestern State and Coach Cabrera a lot of credit. I thought their team was prepared. You could tell that they played with a lot of energy. This game meant a lot to them. I know everybody on that staff. I respect them. Those guys have been winners everywhere they've been, and I thought they played that way tonight. They've got a good team, and they'll be good this year. I mean, in the film that I've watched in preparation for this, and I don't say that lightly. I mean that. And they caused us some problems with, I thought, them playing depth. They didn't have anybody play more than 28 minutes, and you could tell they just had more energy than we did. We struggled to rebound the ball. We didn't rebound it well enough. We struggled at times to guard the three-point line, and give them credit too. They made some difficult shots, but we've got to be more resilient in those areas. Thrilled with the way our guys competed to finish the game, though. I mean, they cut it to 10, and we stretch it out to finish it. And I thought Kevin Overton had a different look to him defensively at the top. I mean, he finally kind of settled in, and he's the defender I think that can be a difference maker. Chance McMillan was tremendous on the glass, led us in rebounding. Darian Williams played an awesome floor game, passing the ball with a career-high 11 assists. And then J.T. Toppin, if he doesn't get in foul trouble, I mean, he can really, really score. I mean, he missed a shot. And 25 points in 20 whatever minutes. So, man, I love our team. We'll keep getting better. And tonight was kind of a figure-it-out game. Like find a way to win the game in a gritty way, and let's get on to the next one.
You mentioned, Kevin, you kind of said the quiet part a lot. He didn't play a great game on Tuesday, but he came in, seemed like he was a lot more aggressive, especially offensively. Did you see that from him tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he got to the free throw line 9 times. And for us, a big stat for us is like, let's make more free throws than the other team attempts, and we were right at that number with 22 makes to their 22 attempts. And I thought he was a big part of it. I mean, he just got in the paint. He had a few transition finishes that got to the free throw line, and then you can see, I mean, he's a great athlete. And he's got good body control, and he's got good touch. And he, in the possessions where he struggles, he settles. Settle for a mid-range jumper over a contested length. And you just got to keep growing in that area. And he hadn't played enough college basketball in a playmaking role to really understand it all. But, man, he keeps taking strides, and I love his upside.
How much of the rebounding effort, the defensive effort a little bit, do you contribute to just some tired legs because you're only able to go 7 deep right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing 7 guys, and in this league and in these games and against teams that have a lot to prove, you've got to not only be great in physical play and defense, and I thought we had our stretches where we were really good defensively, and I thought we had stretches where we were soft defensively. But you got to finish them with some physicality, and we watched it at halftime. 3 or 4 possessions where we didn't box out, and that's where I thought Chance really gave us a lift. I mean, every time you looked in there, D5 and Chance were really helping out, and we've got to get more from other guys in regards to rebounding.
And Darian 1 of 11, but I don't think you're going to say he had a bad game with what else he was kind of able to do. Is there kind of a benefit you see to having the guys you have now where you can bring in more ball handlers after this?
Oh, no question. I mean, I think we can all see that Chance and D5 really do have a command of what we're doing, and I mean, Chance didn't have a turnover, and I thought he just got us into actions that led to the right plays. And I think we can ramp up what we do defensively. We can play faster in transition with the 2 guys we add. And we can sub quicker so we don't bottom out it felt like we bottomed out a couple times, and I used the timeouts over the course of the game to kind of to rest us more than for strategy. It was like it felt like we were getting close to a bottom. Let's give a timeout, and we had one in the last with 7 minutes left, and just trying to be judicious with how we use it, but. Definitely, those guys add a huge lift to us, not necessarily in the half court, but I think in pushing tempo and defensively, they're such great players. Christian and Elijah are tremendous at making decisions and getting us into action. And so I just think, man, it's given us a good opportunity to even grow more with D5 and Chance playing in those positions, and everybody gets to see what KO's capable of doing. I mean, we've got a great team, really do. I'm excited to get everybody back.
Coach, you've talked a lot about wanting to be better defensively, and it seems like your guys have plenty of athleticism, play with good effort. Darion said he doesn't feel like y'all have put two halves together yet. Just as far as being better defensively, I guess, what do you feel like it will take? Because it seems like physicality-wise, like y'all are there. It's just, what do you feel like it'll take to be more consistent on that side?
Yeah, we held them to 37% from the field, and a big part was just letting them get a few broken play threes. Like, you just can't give those up. And from a team communication standpoint, I think our point of attack defense was better. But you do see sometimes where people are making layups at the basket, and we don't have enough. We're not meeting them with enough resistance. Honestly, it's kind of like we're backed up, and we got to be more aggressive and help. And a big part of that is just making sure we don't have guys just driving it quickly down the lane where you have to overhelp. And team defense is about everybody doing their job. And I can tell you, it feels like we're missing a little bit of the extra effort. And a lot of that is playing guys too many minutes and not getting them out quick enough. I mean, if you're going to win this league, and everybody that does, you may get to a point where you have to play guys these minutes, but you can't do that for the season. You can't hold up with the physicality to do this thing consistently. No one can. And win at the rate we want to win. I mean, we won today by 20, whatever it was, and you can tell you our locker room's disappointed, And when that's that way, then we're moving in the right direction. And a lot of it has to do with, let's get some guys healthy so we can sustain more of an effort that we want defensively throughout the game.
And you mentioned just like about the preparation, seeing these guys on film. I know they had a game the other night, but especially now, like when you're dealing with teams where there's so many moving pieces and guys coming from different places, I guess, how hard is it to prepare for games like this where you can't really go back to the film from last year and see much continuity going from year to year?
Well, and that's where, the ability to do what we do well is what I told them before the game. Like, what do we do well? And what's the foundation of how we're going to play, so that you can just put it on repeat and be physical. And in one area that we really struggled tonight, that I felt like opened the game up, that would have sustained us, was rebounding, was just the physical play. When the shot went up, I do felt like they beat us to a few basketballs, and they were more physical than we were. And I think, when you make people miss, you better get it. And when you don't, you're asking for it. You're putting them in a position to play the game. So if you ask me anything, that I felt like when you look at all this and changing teams and whatever, like, you better do that every night. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. When the shot goes up, you better find somebody to hit, and you better go grab it with two hands. And we didn't do that as well we needed to tonight.
Coach, I'm just curious how you feel like you handled when Federico got into foul trouble early, and then, JT got into foul trouble before he did, and then Federico, I believe, fouled out. I guess, how do you feel that your depth, and I know that you don't have a whole lot right there, but how do you think JT handled himself in the post tonight and just defensively when they got the paint?
Yeah, I actually think that's, if there's anywhere that we have quality, it showed. Federico had that dunk at the rim. He had the dunk in transition. I thought his ball screen defense was really good. When he was out there, I felt like we had him on their heels. He had a couple of good rebounds over the course of the possession. Unfortunately, just 1 for 5 from the free throw line. He's working on that. I do believe he'll get better at that. He spends a lot of time figuring that out. He's one of those guys. And then we can throw Dev out there too. And I think Dev's just finding his way. Right now he's kind of lost in between. Like, how do you make an impact that you want to make? And, when we've got Darian Williams out there who can make so many different things happen, and you can kind of play that mismatch small ball with him, it does make you need to have more guard play. And so that's where we've got to find a balance with that. But I felt like those guys really picked each other up well. That's a heck of a rotation when you got Dev, D5, JT, and Fede. I like that group, and I think they were solid. We need more experience together. Obviously Fede and JT, you can see they still don't know a lot of what this is really going to take. You see the flashes of what they're capable of, but we've got to improve in just some maturing and how physical we play every possession, and just not standing up for a half second. The next thing you know, they get a duck in. It's just little things that maybe we don't completely understand. We'll get there. And these guys want to, and man, I love coaching them every day. I mean, they're tremendous. They're awesome, and they've got a lot of natural talent. Just got to be prepared for what the Big 12 is, not be prepared for what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, what do you make of Darian's game tonight? He didn't even attempt a shot until about 1:50 to go in the first half. Finished 1 of 11, 11 assists, 3 turnovers, 8 boards. What's your overall evaluation? It's kind of an odd look.
Yeah. No, you know, in these games where you get up 20 and you've played such a really good game and then you finally get a good look, I thought his pace, feel. I mean, there's a possession in the first half where he threw it to Devin Cambridge on the block on a great read, and Devin Cambridge tried to score it, and he threw it right back out to Darian, to D5, and then he lobbed it over to JT, and JT got fouled on it. I was like, man, what a mature possession. He could have shot it, you know? And then I do think you get to a point in this game where you feel like you need to be assertive, and they started switching, and I felt like he could. And then I do feel like he started pressing a little bit, you know, like I feel like he needs to score to help our team. And I can tell you this, like, I was the part that I loved the most was I thought his defensive rebounding in those segments. Like sometimes your defense starts to deteriorate when you don't shoot it well, and I thought he was the opposite tonight. I mean, he may not have made shots and he may have pressed a little bit to score, but man, he came with some huge defensive rebounds in the middle of the paint for us when we had bad rotations. And his ownership to the way our team is playing and what we need to do. I mean, he's coming in those timeouts saying, like, I got to do this better. And anytime you have that attitude, I mean, 1 for 11 don't scare me one bit, because I know his heart is to help this team win. And he put us in position to do the right things, and he won't I mean, like, he almost had a triple-double. And people want to talk about 1 for 11. I want to talk about, like, how this dude helps us win, and I love coaching him, man. I love being on his team. He's a find-a-way guy, and I love that about him.
If this had been a conference game, would Hawkins and Anderson have played tonight?
Man, that's a great question that I'm not going to answer. No, I honestly, I do think those guys can play. They could play, you know, in a way, and it's just there's no reason to get somebody out there and just try to put us in a little bit better position when we can get them all the way to the best they can be, and then we don't have to hold anything back. We can go. If they want to play 40 minutes, they can play 40 minutes kind of mentality. And that's the approach we're taking with this. And you see them warm up, they're out there, and you know they're involved in practice. So I would anticipate it's just a matter of time, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. Good question. Crafty way to ask it.
You've touched on it, but with those 4 out, I'm sure the rest of the team throughout the week knew they're going to have to play more minutes than usual. How do you feel they've taken up the challenge of filling in for those guys who are currently out?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at both games, we've had a little bit different scenarios. But let's take tonight's game specifically, I thought the best defense we played was maybe that last 5 minutes. You know, when they cut it to 10, and then all of a sudden we push it back out to 20, or whatever the number was. I really thought that it was just we had a little more grit to what we were doing. I thought JT was really good at the rim, and KO was really good on the ball, and then D5 and Chance were rebounding. I mean, that was a good combination for us, and that was good, man. JT had a great block at the end. You can see he's got like great instincts down there, just revving him up to where he's doing it every possession. He's getting there, and he'll be a difference maker. But I could see that it working tonight at the end. They see their buy-in to that, and knowing that how you finish this game is going to be really important. Thank y'all.